everything, and you'll see that you're fucking doomed. But hey, don't worry about it. I mean, why? I mean, just enjoy yourself. So what? You're fucked, okay? Hey,
Matt's saying that all the time. He's talking about the meteors coming, and you know, why quit smoking? Why?
Well, here's the thing. Let me tell you. In 4.5 billion years, the sun is going to run out of nuclear fuel. It'll start to collapse in on itself. That gravitation, that ball will be converted to energy. It'll make it get a nuclear reaction out of the more heavy and complex elements that is converted to helium into, which means it'll expand out again, become what they call a red giant, and the periphery of that red giant will include the orbit of Earth and will be incinerated in 4.5 billion years. And as you come forward in time, from 4.5 billion years from now, it only gets worse. Because we're going to be destroyed 30 times, 40, 50 times over. Before that, it only gets worse. Okay?
Well,
we're overdue for the big one as far as the super volcano in Yellowstone. We're 30,000 years. We're 307 years into a 500-year cycle on the Olympic plate shaking loose. It's done 18 times in 20,000 years. You don't think it's not going to do it again?
You got that meteor coming.
And when that shakes loose, it's a plus 0.9. You got to understand, every point on the Richter scale is 10 times the previous point. It's exponential. It's not geometric, you know. Okay? In other words, a 9 point is 10 times more powerful than an 8 point. Okay? And we've only seen 3 of them in history, and with the Alaska one, we were able to observe it, and it was in the modern science era. Okay? And when that shakes loose, it's going to shake loose the whole damn Pacific Northwest and Northern California. And I'm not talking about the San Andreas Fault. That's a whole different thing. I'm talking about the Olympic plate where it subducts from the Pacific Ocean. It goes under Washington and Oregon, okay? And it just shakes loose.
Well, before all that shit happens, and before you miss out on chow, let me, yeah, it's almost.
Oh, you mean I can't talk to you anymore?
Yeah, I don't want you to miss out on chow. I was going to ask you, basically, you know, on your timeline and everything else, we got up to 97 when you went to work with Tabor. What time around 97 was that you went to work with Tabor?
July of 97.
July of 97. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Okay.
I took my fall in 95. I told you I pled to the unlawful charity, which was indicted in 94, which I quit in 93 because I found out they were investigating me yet again. Right. For the 15th time, I called up a guy and he said, well, the GBI's come by and they've gotten all of my records and receipts relating to the Georgia Veterans News. Okay, hey, what else is new? It's happened a half a dozen times. They're investigating me yet again. This time it was GBI. This is in September of 93, and I quit, okay? And in January of 94, I was indicted, 25 grand bond set. In April of 95, I was arrested on it. And in August, I pled on the unlawful charity, and in December, I pled on the theft charge out of Dekalb County, received 5 years probation, concurrent restitution. Okay, here's the point I'm making. Since that time, and this includes traffic too, okay, since that time, I have broken no laws with the exception of marijuana usage and failure to file income taxes. I have not broken a fucking law until I went on my rampage. So I want to put you at ease there, okay? There's nothing I'm going to tell you right now. I'm a man of my word. I'm telling you, okay? I got no reason to, hey, man, hey. Listen, you can sentence me to death, you won't be able to fucking impose it, okay? I'm not.
No, I agree.
Okay?
When did your rampage begin? Can I ask you that? I mean...
Yeah, at 20.
Right.
Okay.
Is that when you and Tabor had kind of a disagreement or whatever?
Oh, we'd been having a disagreement, but I probably wasn't getting the money. The reason I wasn't, he was saying I was extorting him. And I knew what his game was. And I was not unlawfully threatening him, but he was saying I was. And the last check he gave me, which is $200, that I extorted from him. Tabor knows me better than any person alive. Tabor knows me much better than anyone. And Tabor is scared shitless of me, for good reason. Okay, okay. Tabor knows me. I don't have to spell it out to Tabor. I don't have to threaten him. okay? Okay, he knows me better than anybody, all right? Not that he's close to me, he just knows me because I've revealed myself to him over the years. Again, you need someone to talk to. You need someone to trust. So I thought, I'm not his kind of people. I mean, here's the yuppie's credo, okay? Number one is always remember that you can slum around with guys like Gary Hilton, but always remember they're not our kind of people. Number two, never ever be impressed by anything that anyone has done unless they got a whole lot more money than you do. Okay? That means if I go and climb Mount Everest, that means if I'm the super mega stud of studs, don't be impressed by me unless I have a whole lot more money than you do, than he does. And number three, don't ever let the people have a cut of the pie. Okay? Keep them down where they belong. Keep them wage slaves. Tabor pretended he was giving me a cut of the pie, but he was stealing half of it. Yeah, so at any rate, the point is, yeah, that's, so the last check Tabor gave me, he left it, and on the envelope it had ransom written on it.
What did he mean by that?
He meant that he was being extorted and he was giving it to me under duress.
Okay.
Okay. And then he left me a letter saying I was threatening him and I was doing this tough guy act. That's what pissed me off. I was saying, act. Act? It's not an act, dude. Jesus. No. But here's the thing. You know, in my mind, if someone gives you money, and regardless of what you said to them, if someone gives you money and they're saying they're doing it under duress for fear, and you accept it, in my mind, that's prima facie evidence of the extortion. I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, regardless if I threatened someone, made an unlawful threat, you know, I'm saying I had plenty of lawful threats I could use. You know, I fucked them up lately. That Ron McKinney sued me. But if someone gives me a check and say I'm giving this to you because I'm afraid of you, and because I feel threatened by you, and I'm in fear of my limb and life of you, and I'm giving you the check for that reason, and they document it, okay, by writing ransom on the envelope, by putting a letter in it saying that they're being threatened, and you take that check and cash it, well, that is extortion in my mind, isn't it? I mean,
I can see your point, yeah.
That's prima facie evidence of extortion.
Right.
If they can document it, have witnesses, the envelope had ransom written on it, like, you know, ransom for your life, I guess, you know, I'm holding your life, and you know. And if they're saying to me they're giving it to me under duress and because they feel threatened, and I take it, then that's extortion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could be construed to be.
Right.
Certainly could.
Right.
And they document it.
By the latest person on the jury, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think under the law, too.
Right.
Actually.
Well, what exactly, I mean, I don't want to get into Tabor that much, but I mean,
You tell Tabor that girl is, I killed the girl, but you tell him that girl is dead because he's a fucking smart-ass girl.
Right.
And instead of telling me, Gary, the jig's up, you know, I mean, I don't know what the fuck was going through his mind that he didn't know the girl was dead. And the girl wasn't. She was alive. For all he knew, I had the girl. You know, it was just gone down that the girl was missing and apparently being abducted by me. What the fuck was in his mind trying to lure me? That you think you're going to rescue the girl that way?
Well,
Like I'm going to bring the girl there, especially when they're bracing. Yeah, what the fuck was going through his mind? You tell Tabor, if he had just told me, and it makes sense, it's intuitive. If he had told me, Gary, they know it's you, they're looking for you, and if you got that girl, just like you told me, the first thing you said to me is, Gary, if there's any way that girl's still alive, please, or word to that effect, you said, please tell us. See, you were exploring that possibility right from the get-go. Not Tabor. He's too busy being a yuppie, smart-ass girl, okay? And tried to lay his coy little trap, and I told him, well, I couldn't pick it up that night or the next day, but I might be there the next day, okay? Because I was still my fucking wits end. The girl was still a fucking alive, man. I still had that. I got to go off the, oh, God, you know. And I was just, you know, I'd come unraveled. You saw how I After I was arrested, I slept almost 24 hours a day for the next month.
Well, like Clay was saying, I hate bringing Tabor into it, but just out of curiosity, he just strikes me as kind of a weird fella.
Oh, yeah.
Based on his,
Yeah.
He kind of acts like you have something over his head or
yeah,
something. I
that's
mean,
the impression that I got.
Or is he just scared of you?
Oh, he's afraid of me, and it just may be that his wife doesn't know he's a lousy faggot that lies about everything, but I doubt that. The last message I left to him, I was telling him, John, you're working an agenda that's not working for either of us. It's not working for me because I'm not getting paid. It's not working for you because it's not going to happen. And that is, John, I will never unlawfully threaten you, John. I said, now, I can understand there's two reasons why you might think you could goad me into unlawfully threaten you. One is that if you had done to anyone what you've done to me, they would be so mad and so outraged that they may well utter an unlawful threat. Secondly is the fact that, well, I'm a stud, and the training I received and the fighting I've done is a matter of public record. The training I received is a matter of public record, and the police have been called on me 30 times. The fighting I've done is a matter of public record. But John, you're forgetting something. In all those instances, I acted lawfully. I keep my actions lawful. Now, as far as blackmailing you goes, he had never broached that subject, but I wanted to throw this in. I said, as far as blackmailing you goes, well, John, hey, what am I going to do? Tell your wife you're a lousy faggot that lies about everything? Man, I'm sure she's known that for several years. I told her, and it's my feeling, Jan is dumb, And again, when you love someone, you have this dreamboat of a guy. You've seen Tabor. Yeah, he's dreamboat for the average, He's 44, he's born in 64, man, okay? He's in his mid-40s. Your average schmuck in his 40s is a sack of fucking shit, man. He's done spread out. Man, Tabor's a stroking dude, man. I mean, he's tall and good-looking, and he handles himself beautifully. He's so impeccably mannered. Of course, they pose, and they're precious, and that's the way they do it. And so I can understand his wife being blinded by that for several years. But again, she's an attorney. She was first in her class. She's not stupid, So I feel sure that she...
Did he ever, come on to you or anything of that
Oh,
nature?
no, not at all.
Or share an experience with you? Or
Never.
anything?
No.
Talk about what I did Friday night? Or?
Until recently in our relationship, I would never have broached it at all. But he could
Out of
tell...
politeness or just out of...
No, because if you're friends with a faggot, if it becomes accepted, an open thing between you that he's a faggot, then you're hanging around with a faggot. And in my experience, if you're hanging around with a faggot that's acknowledged to be a faggot, I shouldn't use those words. It's pejorative. I think the world of gay guys, by the way. Gay guys as a group are more handsome, more talented, more smart, more everything than straight men. They are. They're beautiful. And talented and everything, good looking too, But one of the ways you tell a guy's a homosexual if it's just too good looking, dressed too damn well like Rock Hudson. Okay, no, Tabor's always known though for many years that I knew because he knows me better than anyone and he understands how sophisticated I am. By sophisticated, I mean a sophisticated person understands what they're seeing and sees almost everything. That's what I mean by sophistication. Okay. In other words, I've been to New York City. So Tabor knows I'm an extremely sophisticated guy, and the only reason I'm not rich is because I'm crazy.
Well, there's downsides to everything.
Yeah.
I mean...
Hey, I wouldn't, in a sense, it sounds weird, but even at this point, I wouldn't trade it for being the average cognizant schmuck that's going and plodding along, doing a job, career, a family, going to church, doing all those dumbass, mindless, brain-dead fucking things, man. I wouldn't trade it even now to be incognizant of the average person. To be sentient of the true reality of life. And it's all right there in front of us. But people have the capacity to deny truths that are as big as the nose on their face. It's called dimming of awareness. It's a human psychological phenomenon that, number one, reduces tension, and number two, facilitates social interaction. It's a psychologically proven phenomenon that can be demonstrated in the laboratory, that we dim our awareness of situations. it's almost like the guy's got a big wart on his nose, but you don't look at it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what drives cops mad, because cops understand that everybody's got an asshole. All you got to do is look for it, and it can drive them nuts. It can.